Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Hitting the Bars. I am not besides Keltie. I'm besides somebody new. Chelsey, how's it going?
Hi, it's going good.
Say, do you want to give a little bio of who you are?
Yeah, definitely. So first of all, thank you so much for having me on. I know we had you on my podcast, which feels like 5 seconds ago. I don't even know when that was, but I can't believe we're already in January doing this one. But yeah,
Plug
I
your
am.
podcast, girl.
Oh, my podcast is Strength to Build. We just talk about a bunch of different fitness and nutrition stuff on there. So I've been busy doing that. But yeah, I'm a 7 year now female strength coach over here in LA, but I do personal training in LA. I do like personal training online. Started the podcast almost a year ago now. So I've been working on that. And then most recently pregnant. So I actually just got certified to do pre and postnatal exercise specialist training, which has been really, honestly, super valuable as I've been going through my own pregnancy. So definitely staying busy with all the different things involved
Yeah,
with
that's
fitness.
awesome.
Yeah.
Congrats on your pregnancy. How far along are you?
I just hit 24 weeks last Thursday.
Oh my goodness. What is that in
Yeah.
trimesters?
So I'm in trimester 2. That means I'll be starting trimester 3 in about a month, which I didn't realize this until recently, but I guess the trimesters aren't the same length. So like trimester 1 is 12
Oh,
weeks. And then from weeks 12 to 28 is trimester 2. And then I guess from like 28 to 40, it's the longest trimester, and that's trimester 3. So right now I'm kind of in that good stage where everything feels amazing. And like some days you kind of forget that you're even pregnant. Um, but I think I have about a month left of that, and then we'll see what happens.
you forget that you're pregnant. What do you mean by that?
Sometimes, sometimes, yeah, like on the day, I mean, I've been working through my whole pregnancy. Like I train at home, I go to people's houses to train them there. Obviously in between that, I'm with my husband, walking the dog, cleaning the house, planning stuff for online stuff, so it's like definitely very busy. So sometimes, and doing like client check-in calls. So sometimes the day just flies by. And then I feel like by the time I actually sit down and chill out for a second, I can like feel the baby moving and I'm like, oh yeah, what's up? We're actually building something here too.
That's wild.
It's crazy actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's so true. How old are you?
I'm 33.
Okay, cool. That's that. Did you feel, I guess I have more pregnancy questions later, but did you feel like ready at a certain point? Like, I'm always curious when we talk to the Hitting the Bars girls of like, I'm like at that in between of like, I think more about it, but I'm not quite ready. Like, what did that look like for you? Did you always know you wanted to be a mom?
Yeah, I always knew I wanted to be a mom, but there was a time where I actually had an IUD for like, I don't know, however long you have IUDs for, like 7 to 9 years or something. And I was at like maybe the 7 year mark, and this was before COVID. So this must have been like 2019. So, it's like 5, 6 years ago. And I like weirdly decided to take a pregnancy test because I was just feeling kind of funny, even though I had an IUD, and it said that I was pregnant. And I about lost my mind for many reasons. Obviously, I was like, this obviously shouldn't say that I'm pregnant. What is going on with my IUD? Is it even in the right place still? But we were living in like a super tiny apartment. I was like, barely just had left the hospitality game. I was like kind of still trying to definitely like get my footing with work and like fitness stuff on my own. So that was like not the vibe for me. I was like, I do not feel ready in this moment for this. And that was very stressful. And then from there, we like moved, we got a bigger place that could accommodate, having a baby at least and having like a spare bedroom at least. And once my business started like rolling more to the point that I felt like I would actually be able to take away from doing in-person training and focusing with the baby and like being able to make passive income online, that's when I started to feel like, okay, I feel like my foundation is a little bit more solid, and now I want to at least start trying. Which becomes a whole nother thing, right? Because like you say that you
Yeah.
want to start trying, but you don't know what that looks like for you. And we went through a miscarriage this time last year. And that is also like a whole other thing, you know, where I think a lot of people think a miscarriage is like a 1 day event. And it's like months and months that you're just either going through it or wondering if it's happening and then trying to come out of it and then trying to like understand that you just went through a miscarriage and what does that all mean. So it's actually like a very long process. But I guess it happens to way more people than we even realize. So luckily everything's technically fine. So
Yeah. No, thanks for sharing that. That's a
yeah.
horrible thing to go through because you're totally right. It's like there's more of a dynamic with like miscarriages from like what a lot of my friends that have had it, because you're totally right. It is very common from at least majority of my friends have actually experienced that. And a lot of them, what they say, the common thing is like, it kind of steals that joy away the next time you get pregnant because you're so fearful. And like, I remember one of my friends, she had quite a bit of them. And so by the end, she was like, I stopped just telling people. Like, I stopped telling, like, she would used to do it in a fun way for her husband, her family. She was like, I just stopped, like, because she was so nervous of it. Did you feel that way as well?
Yeah, 100%. We didn't even announce. I mean, like we started telling people in person, like close friends, close family. I had to tell my in-person clients pretty soon because obviously as the trainer, you're slash therapist slash entertainment slash keeping the vibe up, you know what I mean? So when I was like ridiculously tired through trimester 1, I was like, I have to just tell them what's going on so that they don't question why I'm sitting through sessions, which I would never normally do or whatever. But we didn't actually post about it until I think 2 weeks ago. So we waited until you do this big scan at 20 weeks called your anatomy scan. And that's where they go in and they check like the length of the baby and the heart and the blood flow and that it's going to all the different places and the measurements of the entire baby. And so after we did that and they were like, everything's perfect, then we felt more comfortable. But yeah, no, I definitely didn't. Like the whole first trimester, it was kind of like, we'll see if this works, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's so exciting. And wait, okay, you never answered. You were pregnant on your IUD, were you not? In 2019?
Oh, right. Yeah, no. So I don't know.
You left us on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, it was the weirdest thing. And it was so annoying to go through because I felt like I just wasn't being heard. I was like, I'm getting pregnancy tests that are positive. And then I would go to the doctor and they were like, we literally don't care to see you until like 8 or 9 weeks. And I was like, but I shouldn't be pregnant. So like, we got to figure out what's going on. So I had to like fight with all these doctors. I'm like, can someone just like literally check where my IUD is or give me some kind of ultrasound or something? Because either the IUD is in the right place and this pregnancy is like an ectopic pregnancy, which means that you're pregnant in your fallopian tubes, which is like extremely dangerous for your reproductive system, which I'm not trying to deal with. Or the IUD is like completely misplaced. And I was like, I don't like either of these options, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I went in and they were like, the IUD is in the right place. And I was like, well, just take it out because it's been long enough with this thing anyway. And then basically they were like, we don't exactly know where the pregnancy is, but if we do take this out, it could disrupt it. And I was like, well, it has to come out anyway. So let's just do that. And then that was kind of the end of that.
Oh, and then it came out negative.
Like, nothing happened. Yeah. It was
wow,
really
that's
weird.
wild. I'm like a fellow IUD girl. Like I'm on my second set. So I've been on like an IUD for like 8 years. Yeah. And I always have I always will go to the doctors being like, check the IUD. Is it in there? Like I'm always so paranoid. Yeah. And even, I don't think I've even talked about this on the podcast, but when I went to see Keltie, I literally thought I was pregnant because I was like having these crazy cravings and I was like, something is just up. And I told her, we're about to film and I look her dead in the eyes and I was like, I need to get a pregnancy test. And she was like, but you have an IUD. And I was like, I know, I just need to make sure. And she was like, okay. And so she goes with me. I'm in her bathroom. She has like these like menstruation cup things for me so I didn't pee all over myself. And I was like, Keltie, this doesn't make sense. She was like, I completely understand where you're coming from. It doesn't make logical sense, but I completely understand. It's okay. And then, I sent it to Michael, my husband, and he was like, you thought you were pregnant? on an IUD, and I was like, hey, it happens. It happens.
Dude, it was the
You never know.
weirdest. Yeah, and you have to follow that intuition because then Lord knows what's going to happen,
Yeah,
That's how I feel like
totally.
that's how people get like 7 months pregnant. And they're like, I didn't know I was pregnant. And you're like, how? Literally how?
Yeah. I know
Good to be on top of
somebody
it.
that, yeah, she like immediately knew she was pregnant. Like, said, say she had, did the deed on Thursday. By like Wednesday, she was like, I think I'm pregnant. And
Shut
I
up.
went with her to get a test, and I was like, there's no way. Like, it just happened. Like, she had just started trying to. I was like, I don't know. I'm like, I think it takes a while. Like, maybe you're just really thinking about it, but let's do it anyways. Said negative, right? And then she was like, but I feel so weird. She was like, my boobs are hurting. Literally, like next week, she takes it again. She was one and done.
Mm,
One and done. It was
wow.
amazing. But I was like, how intuitive. That's beautiful that you are so intuitive with your body that, because obviously pregnancy, for people that don't know, those tests will come negative, right? For at least like say, depending on your ovulation and things like that, like what, 2 weeks
Yeah.
after conceiving. So
Yeah.
that's where it was too early to tell. And she knew that. But still, I was like, that's pretty wild, because some people go their whole pregnancy not knowing they're pregnant. And then you knew immediately within days.
No, that's amazing. I had the opposite problem my entire life where like every cycle, every month, I was like, I think I'm pregnant. I think I might be pregnant. I don't know, maybe. And then the one time that I actually was pregnant, I was like slamming Negronis. I was like, I'm not fucking pregnant.
No.
So, and then I was.
That's so funny. I had a friend it was my bachelorette trip. She'd been trying for a year, and I was like, I want you to take a pregnancy test just because we're gonna be drinking. And she was like, no, like I've been upset about it. It's been a year. Like there's no way I'm pregnant. And I was like, are you sure? We're gonna drink. And she was like, don't, Sav. And I'm like, okay. She was pregnant,
Shut up.
but healthy baby. Healthy baby.
Yeah.
So she
Thank
just
God those
partied
first
with
couple
us.
of
Healthy baby.
good.
She honestly is not really a big drinker. Like, I think she had like 2 drinks the whole time. But still, I was pressuring her, and she was like, no, leave it. And then I'm like, if only you listened, ma'am.
Yeah.
It was too funny.
I found out I was pregnant the day before my birthday. So I was like, thank God I checked because that would have not been a safe weekend.
Yeah, totally. Oh, so special. Well, should we get into our first segment? We always do 2 hot
Yes.
takes, or 1 or 2 if you have, of just things that like we think is funny that's going on. My first one, I'm curious, as you're a fitness girly yourself, I've been influenced. I saw this on TikTok of the like SOS spray from Tower 28. Have you heard of this?
Okay. I don't know actually. Maybe if I saw it, I would know.
It's like a red bottle, and what you do is you literally spray it. I was watching a TikTok. This gym girl was literally filming herself like spraying it, and a gym girl was talking to her during it, saying she sprays it before and after her workouts. It's supposed to be like an antibacterial spray, and the SOS stands for like save your skin, our skin, and it's to like you spray it on the plane because there's so much bacteria on a plane, right? And like washing your face, I guess, isn't enough, or like the masks or things like that. So this just kind of kills any bacteria or like anything from sweat. I mean, gyms are disgusting, right? So I've been like, I bought it and I've been spraying it because I'm constantly breaking out, because I'm constantly sweating because I live somewhere humid and hot. And also I go into the sauna and I do like high intensity. So I'm just always wet, and my face breaks out like crazy. And so I totally recommend it. I'm liking it so far.
It sounds like it's like similar to a toner then. I think that's what toners are supposed to kind of do.
Really?
Yeah, I think like spray, from what I've heard, like someone else told me that before. They were like, you should keep like a spray toner in your gym bag because it's meant to like help kill any bacteria that's just like sitting on your face. And so, yeah, I wonder if it's kind of the same concept. I'm also not a super big makeup girly, so like that could be completely wrong, but I think that's right.
No, same. That's why I knew nothing. I thought maybe you would know.
No. I don't really.
All right,
I'm
what's
like
yours?
trying to get my new favorite little thing.
Or your hot take, or both.
Oh, my hot take. Well, let me think. Oh, okay. So I'm actually not normally like super deep in TikTok. Like I feel like by the time I get to the end of the day, I get on maybe Instagram for like 5 minutes, TikTok for like 5 minutes, and then I get off my phone because I'm just not really on it a ton. But I went on recently and I felt like every other post I was seeing was the 3-ingredient TikTok bagel. Have you made these?
Ooh, no, I'm not a makeup girly and not a cooking girly.
Yeah, I'm not really either.
Did you make
I did, and they were so good. They did not look promising as I was like trying to knead it together. I don't have like baking supplies, so I have to do everything with my hands. My nails are like 12 feet long, so it's like not really my favorite thing to like get things under them. But it's basically just to do like 8 bagels, I think. It's 2 cups of bread flour, 2 cups of either cottage cheese or Greek yogurt, and I had cottage cheese, so that's what I use. But next time I think I would do Greek yogurt because the texture of trying to knead that was weird. And then 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and basically you just knead it all together. You put them in shapes of bagels, and then you crack like 1 egg into a bowl, whisk it, and you kind of just like brush that on top of each bagel, cover it in sea salt, and then you cook it for 30 minutes at 350. And when they went in the oven, I was like, I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully it works because my kitchen's a disaster and that just took way too long. They were so good. And so I would heat them up the next morning or whatever morning and have them with butter. And my husband ended up eating like half of them and he's like dying for me to make them again. But yeah, highly suggest. I think I will make them with the Greek yogurt next time, but they were actually so good.
Ooh, okay. Next time I need to try it. I'm dipping my toes into cooking. Like I recently discovered you can make your own sauce and it's not that hard. It's like the 3-ingredient, I'll do it, but like it will take me seeing that on TikTok for like a week and then I'll be like, oh, fine, I'll do it. But like you're totally right. It's so easy. And there are some people that make their own freaking sourdough and I'm over here like 3 ingredients. I don't know if I can do it. But
yeah, well, my thing's like I don't want to really be in the kitchen for longer than I'm going to spend eating.
That's
like
fair,
I just want to cook.
Impossible.
yeah, a lot of the times. But I'm just like I'm not like a person that likes to just stand in the kitchen and do stuff for like an hour or 2 hours. Like I just want to be in there and for 10 minutes, maybe 20, and then get out and eat. But
yeah, that's fair.
They're good.
I recently found this like meat thermometer at Costco that connects to your phone. It's like an app, like a high-tech meat thermometer. It's amazing.
Oh.
And so my husband will grill the chicken or steak. And like it actually is super nice because then I don't have to deal with the protein. Because like I'm learning the grill, but like baby steps, But it is amazing because you literally pop the thermometer. It's expensive, but it's well worth it. We use it every day. You pop the thermometer into like the heaviest part of the meat, or not heaviest, the thickest, and you grill it, and then it'll literally time it. It'll tell you the internal temperature. It'll tell you when to flip it. So like we will walk away, I'll prep the veggies or something, and then it's like flip meat, and you flip it, and then it tells you how long to rest. It is so nice. And then we're not like constantly freaking out being like, is our chicken gonna be raw? And we're like, we love cooking shows, but do I ever apply them? I know so much about cooking, but will I ever apply it? No. But like, I'll be like, are you kidding me? Her poached eggs, shitty. Like, I'm like, I know. I'm like, oh no, they didn't. There's one like, if you don't saute sage, if you put raw sage, it's like, oh my gosh, a faux pas. Like weird things I know, but I would never apply. I just like watching it. But yeah, Michael, he tries to learn. I'm like, no.
Just stop. That's actually amazing. Yeah. I should actually look into getting that. I just got a Costco card, so I'll peruse.
Yeah, we bought it for Thanksgiving because he makes the turkey. And then I was like, I bet you could do this on all our meat. Amazing. Like, such a game changer. And now it's like kind of nice because then we'll tag team. He'll do the meat and then I'll do everything else. Before I was like just using an Instant Pot and like broiling or like boiling literally this chicken. And I was like, oh, it doesn't taste that good. This is like delicious.
Yeah, boiled chicken's gross.
Yeah. That was how I cooked.
Wow.
Okay, well, my second hot take is, there's the TikTok ban, but TikTok's already back, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, that was so weird and anticlimactic and dramatic. I was like, what just happened?
Yeah, totally. But did you get Red Note in the meantime?
I didn't even know about Red Note until yesterday.
Oh, I was
I
ahead of the
know.
trend. I
Yeah.
got
See, I
it.
was behind.
It's so entertaining, the videos,
Really?
like to see their culture and like their food. I love food, like all of
Hmm.
this fascinating. But if I'm being honest, I think I'm just gonna delete the app now that TikTok's back.
Yeah. I mean, and I feel like TikTok was like trying to get everyone to connect to Lemonade. Did you see that?
Oh yeah, I actually worked with Lemonade for like 6 months. Like I had a paid partnership with them where
Yeah.
I would like curate, like posts for them for my page. And it was like a really great partnership because I thought it was really fun, but
Hmm.
it just never took off. Like I think they
I
really
know.
tried, like they were trying to get the influencers to do it, but it's tough. It's like Pinterest, but not that fun.
Right. They reached out to me a while ago too. I was telling my husband, I was like, they like tried to do a push of marketing like a few months ago, like maybe 6 months, 12 months ago or something. And I was like, it's kind of like Pinterest on one page and then sort of like an random Instagram reels on the other page. I don't really know what's going on, but yeah, it didn't
Yeah.
really take off and I don't
They
see it.
also, like from my understanding, was like what people would post on Lemonade was very like anti influencer in a way of like they were like, don't bring your pretty photos here, don't do this, like that's what I would
Yeah.
read. And I'm like, I like that though, because like our real life is great, but it's also boring in a sense. Like I want to, like Pinterest, I escape and I like curate like a new mood board every week, right? Like I like the
Hmm.
coziness. And so I feel like I would read it and be like, but I like that of social media. I think it's cool to be realistic, obviously, but like
Yeah.
I think that like was where it went wrong was a lot of people were like, well, if we go on it, people are just gonna think it's disingenuine or you can't make it pretty or something, where I was like, that's like the best part if you're artistic.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I never got into using it. And yeah, I didn't hear about the other one until yesterday, and now I guess I don't need to get it. So,
Yeah. No, you're good. Do you have a second hot take?
I do. So this is something I actually loved before pregnancy. So I think it's still applicable to anyone. But also, it's been something that's been amazing through pregnancy, which is really nice because it's affordable and just helpful. So there's this company through Amazon. They're called Craze Yoga, I think, like CRZ Yoga. Have you
Mm-hmm.
ever bought from them?
Yeah, I love that brand.
Oh my God, I'm obsessed. So they have like their flare pant leggings. I'm actually wearing them right now. I had them in black before I got pregnant, and they're literally just like the Lulu flare pant leggings, except they're like $26. And those I got in a size small, like before I got pregnant, and I'm still wearing them in a size small. Like they just like grow, like the material is really stretchy and like it's buttery soft. It's so nice. So then when I realized that I was able to wear those as I was kind of getting bigger, because all my leggings are out. Like the leggings don't work anymore for me, the ones that I had obviously before getting pregnant. So I ended up getting two more pairs of those flare pant leggings. And then they also have like some maternity stuff on there actually. So they do have maternity leggings and then they have like maternity like kind of like jumpsuits that are actually very cute. So I've been getting those. And then I was talking to one of my clients the other day because I was telling her, I was like, I finally had to get maternity leggings. Like, look at this. And she's like, she goes, I actually bought a pair of maternity leggings for when I travel. And I was like, that's actually such a smart idea because when you're on the plane, so many people wear leggings, but then after a while, it's like so compressed across your waist and across your lower stomach, that it's actually not comfortable. But if you had the maternity ones, it's like you don't even know that it's there. So I still think, regardless of whether or not you're pregnant or not, it could be a good option. So I've been obsessed with that.
That's awesome. I love that. And yeah, Crazy Yoga is like I don't know if I own. I feel like I might have like a bra or something from there because I love Amazon like dupes in a way.
Hmm.
But do you think, because, okay, for a lot of people that don't realize, like some brands, they just have like the same manufacturing company, right? So like it's just labeled differently, right? Like I know a lot of brands that are actually just use the same company essentially to produce their leggings, whatever it is. So it actually is like a legit dupe, right? Like to an extent. Do you think it was
Mm-hmm.
like Lululemon's? Like Lulu's so
No.
big, I don't think it is, but like some, if you look like smaller brands, they do that. They're like literally like a white label in a sense, right? Not a lot
Mm-hmm.
of them, but some of them do that. What do you think?
Yeah. I've been telling people, I'm like, you guys, it's literally, I have a lot of Lulu stuff, you know? I was like, the quality is really good. The fabric's amazing. The logo on the back is a tiny little circle, just like Lulu. The tag is like a long rectangle, just like Lulu. So I'm like, I don't know.
Fishy.
I kind of think so.
Seems awfully fishy, but
It
that sounds
does.
like
It's
a
a little
great
too
deal.
much.
I need to try the flared.
You have to.
It's
They're
like
so
I
good.
feel like I feel like I'm too scarred from like 2011 to 2013 of like owning pink flared leggings to where like I can't bring myself. Like I look in the mirror with
Oh,
them and I'm like, "Oh no. No, no, no. Where's the waistband that says
really?
pink that's sparkly?" Like there's something
Oh,
about them I just don't think maybe they fit my body shape too. But like I have two pairs, like old pairs from Gymshark, and like I think they're so comfy, but I will never wear them in public because there's
really?
something about the PTSD of the early 2000s for me.
No,
I
I'm
don't know
I'm
why.
obsessed. I love them. I wear them with my
Yeah.
sambas, little sweatshirt, good to go.
Oh, trendy girl. Love it.
You know? You know? The sambas
Okay.
actually have been a good workout shoe too.
Oh, really? Yeah, Keltie loves the Sambas. She's like talked
They're
about it
so
before.
flat. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, well, I had a couple topics I wanted to ask you. I thought it'd be fun, one, to dive into like you are a strength coach. I wanted to ask you a bit on like how you started your journey, little questions that I think some girls would want answered, and also kind of talk about pregnancy and working out because I know a lot of listeners probably are either moms or they're thinking about getting pregnant. Like, I'm so fascinated. The other day, I went on a walk with one of my friends. She was like a 1 year old. And I was like, I need to know. I need to know what happened down there after birth. Like, I asked all these questions because I'm so curious. And like,
Yeah,
no
same.
one talks about it. I'm like, one of my friends was like, you get these zaps. I didn't know that was a thing. Like, have you heard of that?
I've heard of that. I've heard at some
I'd
point you
never
feel
heard of
like
it
you're
before.
getting electrical shocks in your vagina, and I'm like,
Yes,
sick. When
the
does that
zaps.
start? I have not
The
had that yet.
zaps.
Thank God.
Oh, right. But I love asking, like now that we're the age of people that are having kids, I'm like, tell me everything.
100%.
But with that being said, let's start on your personal journey before we get
Okay.
into that. Um, I guess what got you into fitness? Like, I don't know much about like your background with it.
Yeah, so I grew up active. Like my dad got me into Taekwondo when I was in third grade. I actually remember he came to my school. He like pulled me out of school halfway through the day, which was so fun. And then he took me over to this Taekwondo academy. We signed up together and we went on to train until we both got our black belts together, which was really cool. And then along the way,
Wow.
I think maybe in like fifth grade, I started soccer. So for most of my childhood, I was doing like soccer and Taekwondo at the same time. Ended up playing soccer through my like junior year of high school. Um, and I had quit Taekwondo a little bit before that because it was just getting too much. It's like you kind of either had to like pick a lane. And I was, I was still so young and like going to school. So, but I was really active. And then, so basically, I never knew that food had anything to do with the way that I looked. I had no idea. I literally, obviously, just ate whatever I wanted because I was doing two really intense sports all the time. And so then basically when I was like in high school and I had stopped playing sports altogether and I kept eating exactly what I was eating, which was, I mean, who knows? Who knows how many calories, honestly, maybe like 3,500 a day. Like, I mean, cookies, hot Cheetos. I would make macaroni and cheese sandwiches as a snack when I got home from school, which was
Ooh.
like just literally a box of mac and cheese and then two pieces of white bread covered in butter. And I would put mac and cheese in between it and finish the mac and cheese. And that's just, my mom would be like, we're having dinner. I was like, I know. I'll eat dinner too. We're good. So I gained like, How much did I gain? I think I gained close to like 25 or 30 pounds and didn't know why I was gaining weight, which was the really frustrating part. And just wasn't expecting that to be something that would ever happen. I just didn't know. I remember going bathing suit shopping with my mom and looking in the mirror, and I was like, I started crying because I was like, who is this person? Like, what happened? And it was never talked about in my household, which I think at the end of the day is probably like a good thing. Like, no one was ever talking about like how much to eat or body image or anything like that. So it was just like a shock, you know? So from there, I really kind of started diving deep on like how to figure stuff out by myself and figured out like food has an impact on how you look and like this is what happens. And I got a gym membership that I could walk to, and I started going to the gym, and I just lived on the Stairmaster, as I feel like a lot of us do in our early days of the gym. Never touched a weight, and started kind of like seeing myself come back together. So long story short, that was kind of what kicked off like my curiosity for health and fitness. And then I went through, I'd say, all the same phases that a lot of women go through when they stick with their health and fitness journey for a really long time, which is essentially just the trial and error of all the different phases that you go through, you know? So I went and got a personal trainer. I started training for a bikini competition, ended up not doing it, but I trained really hard and didn't mess around for like basically 3 months. But I also realized that that wasn't really how I wanted to go about my journey with health and fitness either. Like, it was a good learning structure thing, but I was like, I can't live this way. Like, this isn't a good way for me to actually do my day-to-day life. And then from there, I think I got a little frustrated and a little impatient, and I basically went on to lie about needing Adderall. And I went and saw this psychiatrist like behind my parents' back. I was like 18, 19. And I started taking Adderall daily because then at that point, this was like 2009, 2010. I was like, I just want to be as skinny as I possibly can. So I started taking Adderall for like 3 months and got really, really thin. And I was telling everyone, like, I'm just working really hard, you know, lying to everyone. I started having sleep paralysis and migraines and mood swings. And then basically my parents were like, okay, what is going on? And they kind of pulled me aside and talked to me about it. And then at that point I was like, damn it, I really can only make like one decision. I either do the easy thing and just get back on Adderall and kind of say whatever to my parents, even though I know it's not the right decision, or I figure out how to like actually make this work and make it work for the long term. And that's kind of what set me off on starting to really learn about like proper strength training, how to have a healthy relationship with food. I mean, it's still a course, right, after that, but I'd say that's kind of like the trajectory of what got me to continuing to push and try to learn about how to do this in a way that I can sustain.
Yeah. That's like an amazing story. And like it sounds like it's like you hit all the extremes. Like literally, you know, like whether it's food, right? What people struggle with, whether it's then you were extreme with the, you know, when you were debating the competition, even though you didn't compete, and knowing like, hey, this isn't like a sustainable lifestyle, to then relying on Adderall or, you know, like essentially like a quick fix that people like to do, right? So like, I guess how did you come to that realization and like stick with it? Because I think a lot of times it's hard to stick with the harder route, right? Like I'm reading this one book and they're talking about how we're like programmed to do what's like most convenient for us in the moment, what feels right in the moment. And so like, that's why it's so hard. Like if it was that easy, everybody would have a six pack. Everybody would have $1 million in the bank. Everybody would have a great side hustle, but we don't, because it's like uncomfortable and annoying. And like, I guess, how did you find yourself putting in the hard work than taking the easy route out?
I think, and that's very true. Like, I think we'll always naturally take the path of least resistance. But I think for me, it's weird. It's almost like it kind of correlated with different like areas of my life where I feel this way, where I don't know, maybe know exactly where it comes from, but even with like getting a job or making money or saving money or, you know, thinking about where I want to live. Like I always do and have tried to think about like 20 steps ahead, like what's going to be the best option for me, you know, like 10 years from now. And I've kind of always done that. And like I said, I don't really know exactly where that comes from. I think I went through a phase when I was around 16 where I saw my parents' life kind of take a big step back, and they had to go through bankruptcy and just a lot of stuff happened to them that they weren't necessarily like prepared for, I guess. And maybe that's a theme. And so I've never really wanted to put myself, like, spend all this time putting myself in a position where it's just going to either backfire on me or I'm not going to feel at the end of the day prepared. So it's been kind of, I guess, easier in a sense for me to look at things from a lens of like, okay, I could keep taking Adderall and I could, you know, be the way I want, which like obviously 2010 at that time, it was just like in your face about being super thin. And that's something that I had to like work through at that time. But it, like, I think I was able to sit there and say like, what's the pros and cons of me continuing to go down this path? And definitely the cons were like, my family's not going to trust me. I've been, you know, raging towards my friends. I know that this isn't right. I'm not eating. It's not healthy. That's not sustainable. So I think knowing like, okay, if I just start now doing the stuff that I know I'm supposed to do, I'm not going to surprise myself in 10 years with some, you know, outcome or issue that is bad based on what I've been doing, you know?
Yeah. No, that's totally fair. Especially like we have so much research, and for like women as we get older, like it's so important to like build that muscle mass now, right? So you're set up, it's easier for you as you get older instead of like trying to play catch up, and that's 20 times harder, right?
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. What do you, I guess, what's like a mistake you see a lot of your clients or just people in general that make when they get into their fitness journey?
I mean, for sure, I think it's hard to not go through that. Like I kind of had to go through it in order to realize that it wasn't the right option, you know? Because also I knew it was happening as soon as I got off Adderall. That 30 pounds came right back. And so it was even in that moment that I was like, oh my God, I just want to get back on it. But then it was like, if I do it again, this is going to happen again. And so I did kind of have to go through that phase of like wanting the quick fix and realizing that it didn't work, but then having like the moment where I said, okay, now I really have to make a decision. And I think it's hard not to understand that something's maybe not the best option until you go through it, unless someone's like just really open and willing to take your advice right off the bat. But
Yeah.
I do think that that's a big thing that I see most women kind of struggle with in the beginning, that I'm always trying to tell them, like, that's why I get so passionate about it. You know, I'm like, I promise you, I've already done all the wrong options for the both of us. Like you're gonna save yourself so much time, so much yo-yo dieting and being happy with yourself, but frustrated with yourself and all the back and forth if you just start doing this now the right way. So yeah, I often see, and I think a lot of us as trainers do, you know, we see the common like taking out all calories. The focus is all on the wrong thing. The focus is mainly on the scale. There's no sense of like getting stronger. There's a lot of comparison happening. There's a lot of like food is good, food is bad, you know, all of that kind of talk. That I think that if the sooner that we can help people have a better relationship to food, and the sooner that we can get them focusing on trying to compete with themselves to get stronger, it's like we just set people off on such a better foot, you know?
Yeah. And you always hope, I think, as a trainer, that they come to the senses of that faster than you did, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times, like, I think people become trainers because they're like, oh, I wish I had this. Like, it seems so simple now, but back in the day, like most trainers, like the reason they got into it is because they were extremists, or, you know, like we all have like our demons with it. Like, I don't think I've ever met a fitness influencer or like a trainer that was like, oh yeah, it's just like health and wellness. Like I'm
Yeah.
perfect on it. Balance. I'm like, we all low key fucked ourselves up in the beginning, and then we learned from it, and then we got passionate about it. Majority of them have
Mm-hmm.
those stories, right? Of like a
Mm-hmm.
dark undertone, but then they had to learn. And you're right. Sometimes you just have to let them learn, and you can guide them. And like it's kind of like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. I love that saying. And like
Yeah.
you just hope that they do, and you hope you drill it in. But yeah, everybody kind of has to go through that.
I have a client who I've been training in person for about 6 years now. And she's always had like I think like such an amazing physique, but of course she has like her things that she wants to work on, which is perfect. And there was always like the few extra things that she wanted to like tone up or whatever. And she would always ask me for advice. And I'm like, telling her all the time. I'm like, well, you kind of cancel a lot of your sessions. Like definitely try to at least start hitting the sessions we have planned. Your steps are super low. I would try to get your steps up to X amount. I know you and your husband go out to eat like 5, 6 times a week. I would peel that back to one or two. Your protein's extremely low. I would focus on trying to get your protein up. Like we had this conversation probably 8,500 times.
Yeah.
And it would always be like doing it for a day or two, and then it would fall off. And then she would be like, I don't know why nothing's working. And I'm like, again, and we'd go through it again. Um, she got stronger, but like she never hit, I think, anywhere near her full potential. And then she had a baby recently, about 10 months ago now. She's currently in the best shape of her entire life. And it's because she went through having the baby. And I think it kind of took her out of like maybe her comfort zone, which I think is really common, right? Your body's changing
Hmm.
so drastically. And it just made her extremely motivated afterwards to see what she was truly capable of. And she literally just started doing all the things I talked to her about doing for 5 years. And now she's like in the best shape of her life. And I'm like, I was like, you knew what to do. You just weren't doing it, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they say like you can't change a person; they have to want to change, and that's super cool. That was just her why, right? Like everybody finds that why, and like for some people, it sounds like it's being there for the one she loves. She's now a mom. She's like, oh shoot, now if I need to balance this all. I saw a girl on TikTok and I loved it. She was like calling out like what a lot of trainers won't tell you. And she was saying the 2 days you make it to the gym a week is not going to get you change. And I was like, I actually really liked that because it really won't, depending on what your physique was. She was like, if
Mm-hmm.
you just want to feel better, it will make you feel better for sure. You will feel great. But 2 days is not enough time, depending on what you want to see, right? And I was like, wow, I love that because, yeah, you want to encourage people to like baby step it. And like, I needed to be told that when I was first starting because I used to be somebody that was like, oh, like I'll fit it in if I feel motivated before work. And it was because I like tried something on in a, dressing room and I didn't like how it looked. So next day I went to the gym, then the next day I went to the gym and then I would like quit for 2 weeks and I do, you don't see like consistent change with that. You might feel better, which is great, but I love the honesty of like these are the things you have to do. It is not rocket science. These people are not doing anything incredible. They're just following these steps and like it's just doing what sucks in the moment, but it'll pay off and it gets easier, right?
And consistently is the big thing.
Yeah, definitely. What
Yeah.
is, I guess, with you now being pregnant, like how does that feel working out wise? Because I think a lot of girls are nervous when they get pregnant and as their body change, like how to go about that.
Yeah. As you get into pregnancy, one of the biggest things you want to learn to be mindful of and learn to understand about yourself is being able to like lift and contract and relax your pelvic floor. That's going to come in a lot if you're properly doing exercises throughout pregnancy. That's an area that you do want to be really mindful of. So I went to a place called Origin out here in LA. I think they have a lot of locations actually, but it's like a pelvic floor therapy place, which is amazing. And because I had been learning about all of this, I was like, I just want to find out, like, is my pelvic floor weak? Because that's an issue. Or is it really tense? Because that can also make a muscle weak, essentially, right? And that could be an issue. But the reason I had been learning about the pelvic floor for a while now, and I remember like 6 years ago, I was jump roping. Obviously, hadn't had kids, and I kind of like leaked, and it was like such a weird. I was like, wait, the fuck? I was like, isn't this just like a postpartum problem? Like, why am I doing this? You know? And I started to learn more about the pelvic floor, and basically, I had realized that all through high school, when I was wearing my tight ass jeans, sucking my stomach in and not breathing from my stomach, but only breathing from my chest, I basically messed up my pelvic floor. Because when you
Oh,
take an
wow.
inhale, your diaphragm goes down and your pelvic floor is supposed to then go down. But if you're holding really tightly your low abs, which is meaning that you're also really tightly holding your pelvic floor is not moving optimally, essentially. And so therefore it gets really, really tense, and therefore it gets really weak, which is explaining why I was leaking when I was jump roping, even though I've never had a kid. So I've been mindful of it, right? So I think if you know about that, then as you go into pregnancy and you're doing similar strength training exercises, or really whatever exercises it is, it becomes like a little more of a firsthand thought of like what's going on down there, you know, and trying to pay
Hmm.
attention to that. Um, so that was kind of the first thing. The second thing that started to take place happened maybe around like week 14. And there's that hormone relaxin that starts to just like explode through your body, and it basically creates all this ligament laxity. So your body starts to allow joints to move easier, obviously, to make space for the baby. But it's not like the friendliest situation for your hips. And so I started noticing like my back left hip started to feel like it was almost like grinding or like out of place. And it just felt like I couldn't trust it. And I have scoliosis. And so I was like, I can't even really fathom or imagine what's happening like with my hips and my back and all these things. So that kind of made me take a step back. I have an amazing PT who I reached out to. So I think if you are going through pregnancy, kind of getting like every so often some myofascial release from like an experienced PT is actually incredibly helpful. But yeah, you can just start to tell, like if you're paying attention to your body, you can really kind of just start to tell, like, this just doesn't feel the way it used to. And you can kind of intuitively know, like, something's telling me to maybe just go down and wait a little bit. So that's
Hmm.
essentially what I did for the first like 14 or no, first like 20 weeks was kind of just in and out of what felt good. And then I'd say around week 20, my workouts finally started to feel normal and strong again. And I was able to go back to using weights I was using like pre-pregnancy. Um, so yeah, you kind of just, your body's just constantly changing. So you're kind of just taking it week by week, but it is really important to try to be mindful of your body and paying attention to it.
Yeah, for sure. What is, I'll ask you one last question on it. What's the weirdest thing about pregnancy that nobody talks about that you've learned?
Okay. I don't know if I would say it's weird, but it's like for me personally, in my experience so far, trying to figure out portion sizes of food is like impossible. And it's because obviously your digestion slows down and then you start to lose space in your stomach. And
Hmm.
then like all through the first trimester, you're most likely dealing with nausea, which I was. So your meals become super small.
Hmm.
And you know, and then your nausea goes away and you're like, "Oh my God, thank God I can finally start eating like normal meals again." And you start eating these normal meals and you realize they take like 3 days to digest. So basically what started happening is that I would eat like a normal meal once I started feeling better for breakfast, and that felt great. And I'd eat like another normal meal for lunch, and then I'd eat like another normal meal for dinner, and then after dinner, I would feel full from like my shoulders to my kneecaps. Like you just feel like you've eaten the biggest meal of your entire life, like forcefully fed yourself when you didn't. But that's how you feel. Like your skin gets extremely tight, like you can't breathe. You feel like you're just a massive, massive ball. And it's
Wow.
and you feel like you're wearing, you know, jeans that are 12 sizes too tight when you literally don't have pants on. Like it's horrible.
Yeah. That's nuts. It sounds like like you know the movie The Santa Claus with Tim Allen?
Yeah.
It sounds like you are becoming Santa Claus.
A
Where
hundred
it's
percent.
like when he would like eat and then but like he's like, I don't get it. Like he would eat healthy and then he'd like be really bloated or something.
Yeah.
So
No,
pregnant ladies are Santa Claus.
it is literally that. And then you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, it's just back to normal.
That is so strange. See,
It's
I'd love
hard.
to know this stuff. I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't want any curveballs. I want to know. That's where I'm
Right.
asking everybody. I'm like,
Yeah.
when I learned about the zaps, I was like, wait, back up. What is that? I'm like, the way I would immediately be like, I gotta go to the hospital for that because I'm such a
Yeah.
hypochondriac. I'd be like,
Totally.
why does nobody? So on my TikTok, I'll get like these girls that have just given labor. They are like in a diaper still at the hospital and they're like, things nobody told you. And I'm like, watch.
Yeah. I learned one recently that I didn't know, and I asked my OB about it, and she was like, yeah, I would never not do that. And I was
What
like,
was it?
well, I never knew. After you have your baby, before they cut the umbilical cord, ideally you want to wait until the umbilical cord is like totally white. But
Oh, I have
a lot
heard
of
of that.
nurses, yeah, a lot of nurses or whatever will try to like kind of rush you, and they'll try to
Yes.
be like, all right, I'm going to cut it. And then you have to kind of advocate for yourself to be like, I want to wait until it's white. And then I also just found out that you can keep the umbilical cord locked up somewhere in a safe. I don't know where the hell they put these things, but then you can use the umbilical cord. You pay like a monthly fee or something to save it. And if you need to, it's like the best resource for later on if your kid ever needs to use like stem cells in case they get really sick or something.
Yes, I heard that as well. Wow.
Nice, you're really
We
on
must
top
be
of
listening to
it.
the same people. I know. I'm like, what? I'm not even planning on having a kid, but I'm like, I have a friend that's a doula. So she's like very passionate. She
Oh,
told me
okay.
all about it. But I just had a friend that literally her baby was born 2 days ago. And she made that comment being like, yeah, we're storing the umbilical cord. And I was like, what? Why? And she's like,
Mm-hmm.
stem cells for the baby. And I'm like, oh, okay. Because you know, some people like eat their placenta and things like that. Like, I thought it was that. And she was like, no, you keep it. Like, do you Michael Jackson freeze it? Like, I don't know what you do with the umbilical cord. But I was
Yeah.
like, fascinating. Because, like, would
I
it
don't know
just
where it
slither
goes,
back
but
into you?
yeah,
I don't know.
you,
You'll have to
you
report
don't
back.
know.
It's
Yeah, it's crazy, dude.
fascinating.
There's a lot to know.
Yeah, I think though, like sometimes I will walk with my friend that I was asking all the questions the same day. I was like telling her, I was like, I was just thinking one night how incredible it is that like, because she had a boy, right? I'm like, your body knew how to grow a penis. That's wild. Like,
No, it's
I just
wild.
think women's bodies are just amazing. And I'm like, how do you just naturally do that? And you just walk around with this baby in you. And then
Well, yeah.
they become your friend one day. I'm like, how weird is it that like my mom, who's my friend now, like I came from her. That's the weirdest thing ever.
It is weird when you do really do a deep dive. Before I got pregnant, I always thought that I was going to have like a sick feeling in my stomach with the idea that there's like a foot in my stomach. But now that I'm pregnant, it's the cutest thing. And like you don't think about it
Yeah.
in a weird way.
Yeah.
But what's just amazing, because I was like, what really makes the nausea like go away? You know, like I didn't like, why does it just suddenly go away? And then when you learn like, oh, because your body that built this placenta, now the placenta just does all of the work for the baby, and you don't have to really, it's not pulling straight from you anymore, which is why you start to feel better. And to think that, you know, because I would see videos of girls like cleaning their house and going grocery shopping, and they have this big old belly, and I'm like, oh my God, I hope I can be like that someday. Like that looks amazing. Like how are they able to do that? But yeah, you get into the second trimester. I mean, obviously, hopefully all goes well for, you know, whoever's pregnant. But yeah, it's like that. Like you're like, I'm kicking ass. I'm going through about my whole day. Somehow this whole thing is just taking place inside, and you kind of just don't even have to think twice about it. It's really insane.
That is so cool. I had no idea. I always wondered why people were so nauseous.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. Well, with that being said, because I won't keep you any longer, but do you have a confession session for us?
I do.
Anything? If not, that's okay. You have confessed a lot. Anything
I-
funny?
I have this story that basically changed the trajectory of my life, and I didn't really realize that was going to be the case at the time. I'll
We're
try to
getting
make it
deep.
quick.
Okay.
But basically,
Okay.
I was, how old was I? I was probably like 19 years old. I was living in San Diego. I was going to community college, and my goal was to transfer to a 4-year because no one in my family had ever graduated from college. I was like, I'm going to be the first one. That's my plan. So I was in community college. It was finals week. It was actually the weekend before finals week, and my friends and I went to Vegas. And so we're in Vegas, like probably Saturday and Sunday, planning on coming home Sunday. And I had finals that next week. The main final I remember that I had was my photo final, which like, how do you not get an A in photo finals? And I had already finished my portfolio,
Yeah.
so I was like ahead of the game. So I thought that Monday was another lab day to finish your portfolio. And then I thought that the actual final was on Wednesday. So we're in Vegas, it's Sunday, and my friend who I'm with, my best friend, she gets a text from her friend. And this is like 2010 again, right? So Bieber's like top of the top in 2010. My friend's friend basically gets a text message being like, Bieber's at this hotel in Vegas. He wants to hang out with some people. Do you and your friends want to come? And we were obviously obsessed with him at that time. Like he was like our everything.
Naturally.
And so we were like, fuck yeah, like obviously. And so, or this must have been Monday. Anyways, it must have been Monday. So basically I was like, my friend was like, can you miss class today? And I was like, yeah, it's just like a lab class. I'm already done. So essentially we went and hung out with Bieber, and it was like the craziest night of our life. It was just like him, some of his friends, me and my friends from high school, like partying at this hotel in Vegas. And then whatever, I go to class on Wednesday.
No, you can't. No.
Okay.
Debrief. How was that?
It was so weird. I remember sitting on the couch with him, and he's like, so like, what do you do? And I was like, I'm an accounting assistant. Like, what do you say to Bieber? And then we're hanging out, and then I actually went to go try to take a picture of him because like I have my younger sisters, and I was like, this is fucking crazy. I have to show them. I was probably very obvious because he like snapped over and looked at me, and he goes, are you taking a picture? And I was like, no. And then he comes over to me, grabs my phone out of my hands, goes to my photo album. Luckily, I didn't take a picture. And he's looking, and the last picture I had was like me holding my poker chips in the casino. And then from there, he made everyone like stack their phones in the kitchen. No one was allowed to be on their phones. Like we almost got kicked out. It was just like, because if I was like 19, how fucking old was Bieber? And we were like smoking and drinking, you know, so I really don't know, like maybe 16 or something. So it was, yeah, we like try to play it cool, and then we're like, okay, bye. We like get into the elevator and get back up into our rooms, and we just like screamed our heads off for like an hour. We were like, literally, what just happened? So yeah, that was pretty much it. But it was like so random, so fun, whatever. So I go into class on Wednesday, and my teacher's like, where were you on Monday? And I was like, none of your business. Why? And she's like, you missed the final. And I was like, what do you mean? I thought the final was today. She's like, no, it was like part of the final was on Monday, and then the other part of the final was on Wednesday. So then I failed my photo final, which made my overall credits for the semester. It made me basically miss transferable credits by like 1 or 2. So I didn't have enough credits to therefore transfer to the 4-year I was planning on going to. So then I was like, I literally could not tell my parents that I can't go to college because I was busy partying with Bieber in Vegas. So then my best friend was like, move to LA with me. And I was like, I think I might. And then so I moved to LA with her, and then stayed here, met my husband, and became a trainer.
That's wild. Yeah. And you know who you owe it to? Justin Bieber.
That's I know.
Crazy.
Yeah, it
if
was
only
crazy.
he knew where you ended up and what you missed out on. Honestly, I would do the same. I would flunk out of a full year just because I want that story. That's epic. Was this like back when he was with Selena?
Like it might have been. Yeah, I mean like 2010. I just feel like I mean I don't think they were dating from what I recall. But like I mean it was just when he was on top of the world. Yeah.
Wow.
You know. But yeah,
That
I
was
just remember like
wild.
sitting with my parents at dinner and I was like, so I want to see how you guys would feel about me moving to LA. Like I knew I wanted to get into training, but my idea was take the super educational route, and then I went with the I'll meet more people in LA route. And then they were like, all right. I was like, okay, bye.
I love it. Well, look where you're at now. Yeah. You were like,
Yeah.
I could train Justin Bieber, guys. We're friends. That's
It was just
awesome.
crazy. I was like, my husband and I never would have met ever.
Yeah. I love it. That's a great story. Well, with that being said, thank
Yeah.
you for being on Hitting the Bars today. Where can everybody find you?
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me. I am on Instagram and TikTok since it's still alive at Chelsey Rose Health. And then, yeah, I have my podcast, Strength to Build, just constantly talking about proper nutrition and strength training and sustainability on that. I'd say those are the three main things.
All right. Perfect. Well, thank you, Chelsey. Bye.
Thank you, girl. Bye.